آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله إلا الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of God Almighty be with you. And welcome once again to the teachings of Islam with your host Khalil Cave. First of all, let me thank those members of the public that have been coming forward and asking questions. I've been getting quite a few calls and even encounters in the street, where people are coming and asking me questions about Islam. Some people, especially our folks in Vuajingada, I would like to, commend you for your courage and your continuous support towards this program and myself. I've met a lot of people from Vuajingada who have been looking at this program and who have maintained that sort of interest that is needed to learn Islam and to get the clear picture of Islam. So I would like to commend you on that and encourage you to continue looking at this show, continue your quest and your search for the truth about this beautiful way of life, al-Islam. As I've said many times before, don't allow CNN or BBC or someone else to tell you what Islam really is. Ask a Muslim. And don't just ask any Muslim. Ask a Muslim who has knowledge of Islam. Because someone may be a Muslim but just by name, and that person may not know much about Islam. That person's commitment also towards learning in Islam may be limited. So make sure that you not only have that continuous drive for learning this beautiful way of life in the true sense of the term Islam, but also ensure that when you go out there seeking information, seeking knowledge, make sure you go to the right people. Also, be very, very careful with certain websites. There are lots of websites out there that are anti-Islam and that would actually spread a lot of lies about Islam and about the Muslims. So make sure you come out and ask us, ask a Muslim who you can trust, who you know that would be willing to give you the correct information that you are seeking. Anyhow, my dear friends, last week we were discussing the aspect of marriage or nikah in Sharia in the laws of Islam. As you would have known, we've started this subject area, Sharia, the laws of Islam, some time ago, and we've been discussing various aspects of the Sharia, from the way Muslims transact business to the way Muslims conduct their social activities and run their social lives, and also the creed of Muslims, what Muslims believe in according to the Sharia, etc. So we are still lingering on this topic. As I've said before, it's a very, very vast topic. There have been so many books that have been written on the laws of Islam, on the Sharia. So know that whatever we are discussing, whatever we are dealing with in this show, it is just a gist, basically, of what the Sharia represents. Okay? So for you to get more and more details about the Sharia, you will have to sit with us and we will have to go over certain texts so you could understand more and more. Just recently, there was a caller who called inquiring about Islamic financing. In other words, how does the Sharia conduct business as well as the banking system? How does that work according to the laws of Sharia? So I was explaining to that caller that throughout the Middle East and even in certain places in Europe now, they are actually implementing Islamic banking and Islamic financing. So apart from what you know as the conventional way of banking and financing, there is also the way of the Sharia way of doing banking and financing. Yes, indeed it is so. A lot of people might be thinking, but wait, what is different? The Muslims actually do business differently from how we Westerners do business. Of course, the Sharia, which is not 10 years old or 100 years old, the Sharia was established by the Prophet Muhammad, of whom be peace, when he received the revelation from God Almighty. So the Sharia and its system of conducting business is not 10, 20 years old, 100 years old, 200 years old. Islamic financing and Islamic way of conducting business, according to the Sharia, is over 1400 years old. So this unique way of conducting business is according to the Sharia law, according to the laws of Islam. For example, I may have mentioned to you before that in Islam we do not deal in interest. We do not deal in interest. So if you were to go and borrow money from someone, in Islam, that person has no right, according to the laws of Sharia, to demand any extras when you are repaying them. If a person lends $100, $100 must be returned. According to the laws of Sharia, if you were to live in a country that is governed by Sharia, you would not be allowed to demand an extra $10 or $50 on the principal amount, on the 100 that you had lent. So this is just an example of how the Sharia deals with its financing. This is just one way how Sharia deals with lending money. Also, in the laws of Sharia, the laws of musharaka or forming a company is quite different and unique to the laws that are there in the Western system or in the Westminster system of conducting business. So there's so much out there that you need to know about Islamic financing, Islamic banking, and it is actually becoming something of keen interest now in many Western countries. Looking at the system of Islamic financing and banking, a lot of Western countries now are actually developing some sort of a interest, and they are actually thinking of implementing a lot of these strategies and laws that were carved by the Sharia in their banking system. So that is something for you to think about. I know a lot of us, we like business, we like to get into investments, etc. It would be wise for you to think about learning more about Islamic financing, and it has nothing to do with you becoming a Muslim. You can learn Islamic financing and Islamic banking and benefit from this beautiful system without having to be a Muslim, because obviously your interest would be money and investments, etc. So that is something for you to think about, and you can actually contact me if you need some more information on how you can actually learn more about Islamic financing. Anyhow, so we'll continue now from our topic last week. We were discussing marriage. Obviously, marriage is something that is encouraged in Islam. In a Sharia state, or a state that is governed by the laws of Sharia, there is no such thing like a live home or a common law relationship. The laws of Sharia does not recognize common law relationships. And even the children that are born out of such relationships, they are obviously not treated in the same, according to the laws of Sharia, like children who are born into wedlock. Children who are born in between parents or from parents that are married. So when I say they are treated, it doesn't mean that we ill-treat them according to the laws of Sharia, but the laws of inheritance, the laws of those children being recognized as legitimate children of that father, carrying his name, etc. There are quite a few conditions there that apply. So this is why in the Sharia system, in the laws of Islam, there is only marriage. Marriage is the way that society is built through marriage, not through, just having, girlfriend, having a child mother or children mothers. No, this doesn't work so in Islam. In the laws of Islam, you may have heard many times before, oh, someone was flogged because they committed fornication, etc. So, of course, in the laws of Islam, in the laws of Sharia, because it does not accommodate, it does not encourage this lifestyle, there are repercussions, there are implications according to the laws of Sharia for people who live, according to this lifestyle. Now, if you're not living in a country that is governed by the laws of Sharia, then you should not try to speak ill of the Sharia, all because of your lack of understanding and your lack of willingness to implement such a lifestyle and embrace such a lifestyle. For those people who are living in a country governed by Sharia, for them, this is the recipe to success in a social setting. In other words, if you were to go to countries that are governed by Sharia, you're not going to find such things like children that were abandoned by their fathers or parents, and someone found a child next to a garbage bin, someone found a child in a gutter. You will not find things like this. Also, you're not going to find cases where a child doesn't know his own father, he doesn't know his own mother, but they're somewhere there making kids with someone else. These things do not exist in a Sharia system, or in a system that is governed by Sharia. The laws of marriage in Islam and the laws that are there against fornication and adultery, these laws were crafted by God Almighty to protect society, to protect children, to protect women, and to protect the society from degeneration. So don't just think about, oh, someone was given 100 lashes for fornicating. Even the laws of Islam, even in the laws of Sharia, the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, has told us that if someone, for example, commits fornication, it's not like in the laws of Sharia you just pick, any Tom, Dick, and Harry just picks up a piece of stick or a belt and just start striking this person 100 lashes until this person is dead. No. In the laws of Sharia, a person who commits fornication is flogged 100 lashes. And each of the 100 lashes must not be so severe that it causes severe bodily harm to this person, or it results in this person's death. It is more a system or a law that was crafted as a preventative method, not to just a curative method or a curative reason. See, in this society, a person is allowed to go and sleep with as many women or as many men he or she wants to. Now, the system is set up in such a way that it is only until this person contracts HIV or AIDS or some other disease that we now try to protect society by telling people that this person, for example, this person is infected, or try to give this person medication as with a curative approach. See, this problem could have been prevented. It could have been stopped in its track before it even resulted in this person being infected with HIV/AIDS or some other disease. But our system is designed in that way that we are no longer now able to contain, or we are no longer able to stop the harm from happening. We are now trying to contain it and see how we can minimize the effects of it. And as we all know, AIDS is still spreading. This disease has no cure. It is still out there, and we're trying to contain it. We're not trying to see if we can cure it. But how could we have prevented it? By ensuring that each and every man and woman takes responsibility, set up such systems, set up such ways, such laws that would encourage a man to be married and encourage a man to and a woman to take responsibility for their lives and the lives of their household. But unfortunately, the society has been, built in such a way that it's all about how we can facilitate for the fulfillment of our carnal desires. And, it's sad, but this is what we have to live with. And, it is our own weaknesses as human beings that, continues to expose ourselves and others to great harms. So the laws of Sharia encourage marriage. The laws of Sharia, it promotes marriage, because this is the way to protect society, to protect families, to protect communities, etc., from all the ills that we are seeing today. A lot of people have a problem with Muslims. Oh, you guys marry so young. I mean, there's so many people that I've seen asking Muslims before, oh, what age did you get married at? Oh, I was married at 20 or 20. Oh, that's so young. You didn't get a time to enjoy your life. How you got married at such a young age? You will never get to enjoy life. And what enjoyment are they referring to? They're referring to enjoyment of going to a club, of having several girlfriends, having several boyfriends, having a few children mothers, etc., etc. And, these things, obviously, the reality of these things is not enjoyable. Go down to the court and see how many women are out there, crying and trying to get child support. Go down to the police station and see how many cases of domestic violence there is. Go to different social social organizations and these NPOs, etc., and see how many women are actually on a daily basis seeking assistance from society, from wider society, because of a bad relationship, because of someone that was not committed to them, that they were not married to, is refusing to pay child support, is abusing them, refusing to support in the form of money, etc., etc. So when you think about enjoyment of life, ask yourself if it's that enjoyment in the club, alcohol, music, dancing, undressing. Is this the enjoyment that you seek? Or is the real enjoyment the peace of mind that you can extract out of life for yourself and for your family? Okay? So of course, some of us, we are young now, we are so irresponsible that we're not thinking about these aspects of life. But as we begin to age, then we will see that, the life that we have lived so far, the lives that we have led so far, has contributed to the circumstances that have been created around us. Okay, the difficult circumstances that we are in right now, the lives that we are living, and the lives that we have led in the past. So this is why through marriage there is no such there's nothing to be fearful of. There is nothing that you should be worried about. It is a sincere and wholehearted commitment that is made to honor the rights of another person. The man honors the rights of the woman, and the woman honors the rights of the man. Now, we're not saying that if a couple is married that there will not be any problems, but the laws of Sharia is crafted in such a way that all the responsibility of these two people getting along is not placed on their shoulders, on the both of them. Rather, some of the responsibility to see a couple have a successful marriage, some of the responsibilities are also placed on the parents and the wali, or the representatives of each persons. So, for example, if a couple gets married today, their guidance, how they can go through life and face all of their challenges together, and how they can be successful parents, teaching their kids good morals and good ethics, all of this is not just placed on their shoulders, but their parents have a share of the responsibility. They too also have a share of the responsibilities, as well as society, wider society, have a fair share of the responsibilities. So when all of these entities are partaking in the responsibilities in grooming these two individuals, then in the case of challenges that they would encounter in marriage, there are different persons there. There is the leader of the community. There are parents. There are relatives on both ends that are willing to sit down and discuss these matters. As a matter of fact, the Quran says this very, very clearly. وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ, that in the case of some dispute between husband and wife, that you should always seek reconciliation. Come to truce, come to peace. وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ, and this is the best thing that you can do. So Islam does not allow, for these two individuals to just make a decision. Oh, I don't want to be married to you anymore. I divorce you, and that's the end of it. And kids go this way, some kids go this way, and that's the end of it, end of the marriage. No, it doesn't work like this. In the laws of Sharia, there are so many different steps before a person can utter the words of divorce, or before a woman can ask for a divorce, or before the husband issues a divorce to her. So in the laws of Sharia, divorce also holds great significance. It holds great significance. In the laws of Islam, divorce is the last step that is taken in a situation whereby there is a dispute, or there are grievances between the husband and the wife. That's the last resort. That's the last thing we resort to, divorce. The whole Quran makes mention of the various steps. وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. That if you fear, meaning if the families of a couple fear a problem, they fear some sort of a dispute emerging from this marriage, and each one is being mean against the other, they are not getting along, there are troubles, they are arguing every day, they are fighting, they are having struggles in their marriage. فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. Then have one arbitrator from his side, have one arbitrator from her side. In other words, select from each entities, from the husband's side as well as the wife's side, a trusted individual, a fair-minded individual from each side, and have them sit down with both parties. Not just, okay, this one taking sides, the other one taking sides, or we just select the strongest and the meanest person from this family and the most ignorant one from this family, the one that can fight the most and argue the most. No. The Quran says hakam, someone who is just, someone who is fair. Not just any person. See, usually when there's a dispute between two individuals, each individual calls upon who? Each individual calls upon whom? They call upon that person that they think that will stand up for them and defeat the other side. So if it's a brother, maybe he's a gangster, maybe he has a gun, maybe he's a police, maybe he has influence in the government or somewhere, we call upon that person to come and represent us. And it may be that person would take advantage of the other person even though they are wrong. Maybe this individual is wrong, maybe the husband is wrong. But because he has his uncle on his side who is a minister, or maybe he has a cousin on his side who is a police officer or as a magistrate, he calls upon that person to fight on his behalf and to take advantage of the person who is already oppressed. So the Holy Quran tells us not to take that route, but to take a route that would result in peace, in reconciliation, that will result in both parties gaining justice and fairness. So if the families of these two individuals fear that there is some fallout, there is some major problem that would emerge from this marriage, then on each side someone should come forward that is a fair and a just person. يُرِيدَ إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. When they sit together and they and they trash out all the problems, and they realize, okay, maybe the husband, maybe he is wrong, maybe the wife, she can improve in this way, maybe she's doing something that is not bringing any good to the marriage, or maybe he is falling short, he's not fulfilling his marital rights and duties. So then when they come to all of these details and they see who's at fault, they try to reconcile. They try to have each party commit to a reconciliation to make things right. يُرِيدَ إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. If they seek to reconcile, then they will pray about it together and ask God Almighty to grant them the strength to uphold their commitments. So you see, the laws of Sharia is, a lot of people, we have it today in society where, okay, if a couple is having arguments and fighting, we tell them to go for counseling. But it is possible that the person who is counseling might be, it's just one person, obviously. That person might be in favor of the woman for their own reason, or in favor of the man, and that's the end of it. Or they may give advice that is not fair and just to both persons. I'm not saying this, as a hit out to people out there. I know there are lots of folks out there that are counseling, that are doing marriage counseling in the churches, etc., and they're doing a great job. But in the laws of Sharia, the persons that are giving advice are the persons from both sides, and they are sitting together with level heads, and they are giving their views, they are giving advice to each person that is involved in the marriage. So in this way now, across the board, no one will feel, that, oh, I was, my rights are not being looked at, or the counselor was only listening to her story, she wasn't listening to my story, and the counselor is in favor of him because maybe it's his family or someone that she knows or he knows. So it's not like that. Rather, two respectable persons on each side of the family are brought together with the couple, and justice and fairness is delivered to both sides without seeking any favors, without having any ill will, without taking advantage of anyone or depriving anyone of their God-given rights. So this is how Islam, this is the first step that is taken even in the case of divorce according to the Sharia. That divorce is not the first thing that we are looking at. We are looking at reconciliation. Just to share with you, there was this a relative of mine that was having some problems, not with the husband, but with the in-laws. And she became angry, emotional, she felt hurt, and she went to another family member of mine who's a trusted person, and said, I want to have a divorce because these people are not treating me well, etc., etc. As human beings, we all have our moments of emotions. We all have our moments when we are feeling so hard, etc. But subhanallah, praise be to God, alhamdulillah, that relative of mine is someone that is well trusted and a fair-minded person, and he was able to discourage this relative of mine from even thinking about divorce, because it happened that the person was just very emotional and upset. And afterwards, the person was, they expressed their gratitude to the other, well-trusted and senior relative from the family. And this is just an example of how Islam deals with such cases. So, my dear friends, my time is up again, and it hurts my heart every week to come and not be able to complete my topics, but at the same time, I'm happy that whatever I'm able to come and deliver here on a weekly basis, that you are able to learn from it, and that you have such courage to come out and even discuss it with me. I met this a very nice young lady from Fortune that came recently and approached me. I didn't know her, and she said, "You're the guy from that teaches about Islam on the television?" I was like, "Yes, I'm that very person." And she was very nice, and she said, like, "Look, I look at this show every week. I enjoy what you're doing, and I understand every single thing that you are preaching and teaching, and it's quite clear to me, and I'm benefiting from that." So I hope that, like this young lady, there are so many other persons out there that are actually benefiting from this program. If you have any objections or any questions that that you would like to ask, come forward, please. May God Almighty continue to bless us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy and blessings of God Almighty be with you.
وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر